Assessment question 8. Katie has read 32% of a book. If she's read 80 pages, how many more pages does Katie have left to read? So we have some information. This is one of these where you have a percent over 100, part, and then whole. And so I'm going to figure out what information we have and what we need. So she's read 32%. So we have that. We know she's read 32% of the book. It's always over 100. If she has read 80 pages, how many more pages does Katie have left to read? How many more would mean that over here we're going to be looking for the whole. So we know that she has read 80 pages, and we're going to look for this. And got to be careful because this says how many more pages will she have left to read. So we're going to have to think about that at the end. So when we have the part and we have the percent, how do we find the whole? Well, we can divide the part by the decimal value of the percent. 80 divided by 0.32. So let's do that real quick. We can do 80 divided by 0.32. Now, got a decimal here, so I'm going to move this over. My decimal should be there. So I'm going to go 2 places there and move it right there. So 32 into 80. Well, I know for sure it goes twice. It's probably not going to go more than that, so I'm going to put it 2. And I've got 32 times 2 would give me 64. Do some subtraction here. I can borrow 7. 10 minus 4 gives me 6. And 7 minus 6 is 1. From there, bring down my 0. And I get 160 divided by 32. If you do this accurately, going in there, you should get 5. 32 goes accurately into 165 times. So the answer we get is 160. When you subtract this out, 0, 0, 0, we can bring down this other 0, but it's just going to fill in another 0, and 32 goes into that 0 times. So 32 times 0 is 0, and we're finished out with an answer of 250. Now we have to go back and read this question because it says if Katie has read 32% of a book, Katie has read, if she has read 80 pages, how many more pages does she need to read? They don't want the total number. This represents the total number, 250. The total number of pages in the book is 250. But she's read 80 of them. So how many more does she need to read to get to 250? Okay. So what we're going to say is 250 minus 80. We can subtract this and figure it out. We have to borrow from the 5 to get, lapse, gentlemen. We don't have to borrow from anything. We get a 0 there. We have to borrow from the 2 to get a 1. And get 15 minus 8, which I believe gives us 7. And then bring down the 1 right here. So now that I've done that accurately, I get 170. That should represent G, how many more pages she has left to read. Notice that 250 was an answer. That's that one that can kind of trick you here because that's the total number of pages in the book. But we want to know how many more she has to read. So make sure we comprehend the question all the way. So I want you guys to try this question right here and see what you get. Kind of similar. Different numbers though. See what you get. Joseph left 44% of his Pokemon cards at home but brought the rest to school. Joseph left 110 cards at home. How many cards does he have with him at school? Remember to set this up as a percent over 100 part whole, and then solve it for how many cards he has at school if he left 110 at home. Go ahead.